Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crit and Christmas. I'm Sint.
And I'm Axiom.
And are you a boy or are you a girl?
I like the girls model better in most games.
There's a lot to unpack there. Speaking of unpacking, we're playing a Christmas game. So, let's go ahead and look into that while we also begin a discussion of a classic that everybody knows, even if they've never read it, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
And we will be playing Pokemon Christmas, a hack of Pokemon Gold.
Gold and silver.
Silver and gold.
Yes, but we're not talking about Rudolph, which is a good thing, because I'm not in the mood to fight away Hiker Yukon Cornelius today, though I'm almost sure that's going to show up in this. Yeah, this is definitely a hack. I could not remember a Glaceon in Gen 2.
Yep.
But, yeah. So, Christmas Carol is probably the best-known story about Christmas, I think. I thought we were going with Belle.
Oh, right.
I mean, not that there's that many characters we can pick a name from out of this one. I almost suggested Marley so we can make Chrono Trigger jokes at the same time, but that might get confusing. But yes, our character Belle is named after Scrooge's lost love, for those who have read the story. For those who haven't, the name might not be as familiar because, well, there are probably more adaptations and twists and pastiches and parodies of A Christmas Carol than there are. I had an analogy for this and I lost it. So there's just been a lot of adaptations and takes on Christmas Carol. So it's probably just like almost impossible at this point to not have some exposure to what is one of the best known stories we've got. So
There we go. Candy canes.
yeah, like okay.
Yep. So, what was your first version of Christmas Carol?
I'd be one of the Disney ones. All hail.
All hail.
Yeah, the first one I remember was the one that pretty aptly put their Scrooge as Scrooge. The 1983 Mickey's Christmas Carol, which is a fair bit before my time, but obviously as a Disney property, they will rerun the ever-loving nonsense out of it.
There we go. This character will be Clara.
And we've named another Disney character here, Clarabelle, which was not intentional. We're going with it, though.
Yep. I presume the Disney version is also your favorite?
I mean, it's like Doctor Who. You don't forget your first. So, like, I've always kind of forever associated Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge, which I know is a huge influence on his character as well, because he's obviously the miser character, and Mickey Mouse as Bob Cratchit has always kind of stuck with me, and so it's really kind of hard to shake that one, and yeah, it's you kind of have your sacred cows that go back to your childhood that it's like, how am I going to criticize this? I mean, I'm sure I could criticize all sorts of things. Yeah, Cyndaquil! Heck yeah! We don't have to think about this. We have Cyndaquil, which is adorable, we have Totodile, which bites things, and then we have a sapient pickle. We're going with Cyndaquil.
I like Chikorita, but that's fair.
Chikorita is okay, I guess. It's better than the Gen 3 starters.
I mean, that's not a high bar. Anyway.
Unlike the last game, I have opinions in this one.
Alright, what do we want to call Cyndaquil?
Past.
Okay.
Since the Ghost of Christmas Past does have a flame, which we can talk about when we actually talk about that.
Righty. Well, my personal favorite, and well, my first exposure to the story was also the Disney Christmas Carol, with Mickey Mouse and all that. But My favorite, bar none, is the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I have never seen that.
Really? Well, that is something that I plan to rectify. I meant to do it last year, but... Well, last year was last year. Let's just not talk about 2020 anymore than we have to. Also, free XP share at the beginning of the game. I had actually forgotten that was a thing.
This is something that I don't think is discussed enough about... This has nothing to do with A Christmas Carol. You're being sent to visit someone named Mr. Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that basically like being like saying, "Hi, I'm a zookeeper named Mr. Animal"? Like, but did he legally change his name to Pokemon? Did someone actually just get the name Pokemon in a world of Pokemon trainers? Like the whole nominative determinism thing, where like if your name is Baker, you already know you're going to spend your life making bread, or like. Am I just overthinking a negligible aspect of a children's game?
Yes.
This is a literary analysis channel. That's kind of our job.
I mean, that's
so I'm not really willing to let this go quite yet.
So, anyway, there are little differences in every version of Christmas Carol, as you probably are quite aware. Little things that get emphasized, characters that are more or less important depending on which version you're watching, but the basic story is more or less intact throughout every version I've ever encountered.
Yep. So, I can't get over just, like, we're sending the past out. Like, just go past! Which kind of sounds like you're trying just to sneak by, but your Pokemon wants to just go for a fight.
I mean, look at it. It's a little, like, weasel thing with... Or, like, a badger thing with flames on its back. It's not exactly sneaky.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, obviously the basic story is going to be the same in all. You've got Scrooge needs a life lesson that can only be taught to him through, basically, divine supernatural intervention. Because, you know, there's a lot to unpack there. Hi, Professor Oak. You know,
yeah,
I honestly kind of wondered how come Elm has not been more offended.
I was just saying, he showed up right as you started discussing Scrooge.
Something there. Like, how come Professor Elm doesn't get more offended that, like, "Hi, I'm here to check up on your research because I clearly don't think I can leave you alone to handle your own game."
I mean, have you ever seen the official art of Professor Elm? He's the only professor that looks more disheveled than him is Professor Birch, who is...
Oh, you mean the guy who got treed by a frickin' Zigzagoon?
Yes, exactly. The guy is not exactly...
It's like, how come Elm doesn't go... Like, Oak needs to go check up on Birch, okay? Or Rowan does. Like, that Rowan might hit him with this cane.
I was about to say, I don't think Rowan would have the patience for it. But yeah, we kind of went way off subject there.
I'd say we're off in the weeds, but that's where the wild Pokemon are.
So, working as intended.
Yep. Ah yes, the past is getting stronger, you will never escape. Past learned smokescreen, do we want to take a minute to analyze that? Or shall we move on?
Let's move on.
But yeah, so Scrooge is just an unpleasant man who needs to learn a lesson to learn about, you know... The story is basically, I don't know how to explain to you that you need to care about other people, condensed down to like 60 pages. And everyone loves it, because, like, this... You can't go a December without seeing, like, 5 separate versions a week of A Christmas Carol airing on all channels.
And yet it's still less annoying than A Christmas Story.
Or Christmas Shoes, oh my god.
I have actually never been subjected to Christmas Shoes.
Taking note of this.
Look, if it comes down to a decision of whether you force me to watch Christmas Shoes or I force you to watch Muppet Christmas Carol, I know who's winning that argument.
Okay. But yeah, it's so baked into pop culture these days, to the point where, like, you can see elements of it showing up in other stories that were popular around Christmas time. The whole, like, you know, look back at your past and see, how the holidays have been important to you, how you have impacted others, and how are things going currently, and here is what things will be like if you don't change. Like, it's slightly different, but I can see a lot of shades in that plot thread showing up in It's a Wonderful Life. The main difference being, well, it was never actually intended as a Christmas fixture, and it's centered on a person who the universe treats as fundamentally good and worthwhile, and honestly just going through a really rough patch, as opposed to Scrooge, who in It's a Wonderful Life would most analogously be Mr. Potter.
And it has been a long time since I have watched It's a Wonderful Life, so remind me who Mr. Potter was.
He's an 11-year-old British wizard, but that's not important right now. Yes, he was the bank owner. I'm sorry, I had to set up the joke, though.
No, it's fine. That was a perfectly reasonable response. Yeah, I thought that's
yes, Potter is the bank owner who would like to get the business from Bailey's Savings and Loan and would most benefit from George Bailey not being around. So he's the villain, so on and so forth, kind of nothing happens to him, unless you've watched the Saturday Night Live sketch where they decide, well, let's go get him, and it basically ends with Happy Christmas music as they beat the stuffing out of a dummy that's dressed up like Mr. Potter.
I mean, there's something to be said for that. Anyway.
Christmas Carol...
Not to mention, on top of all of this, is almost any long-running sitcom, TV show, series that has any amount of sway to the fourth wall has done a Christmas Carol parody of some sort. It is, like you said, it's literally everywhere.
Okay, the good news is... Okay, this might be mixed news. I just looked to see if the Pokemon anime had done it, and I did not see anything come up when I just googled it, so it's up to you if that's a good or a bad thing. But, oh man, do I desperately want to see Team Rocket dressed up as the three spirits of Christmas, whatever. I'm not sure who would be the Scrooge fare. Maybe Ash, so they can try and steal Pikachu, but, like... Who do you think would be what?
Man, that is the silliest question that I'm having the most difficult time answering.
I'm gonna say Meowth cannot be Future because Future doesn't talk and Meowth never shuts up.
That's fair, which kind of means that Future has to be James because he talks the least of them. On the other hand, James would definitely be the sort to do the, come forth and know me better, man.
James would be present. I think Jesse would be Future.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Giovanni can be Marley. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Insert.
Oh yeah, on that note, I'm not sure how Disney decided that Goofy, of all characters, was the best stand-in for Jacob Marley, the first specter of rampant capitalism and greed devouring a soul come back to warn Scrooge to change his ways.
I actually have
I am a 90s kid. I'm just look at this. I grew up in the 90s, so I remember Goof Troop, with Goofy as the well-meaning but bumbling middle-class dad just trying his best. If anyone besides Scrooge would be a shoo-in for Marley, I would think it would be Pete. And they used him for Future instead.
Yeah, I think the reason that they made Goofy Marley is because Goofy is tall and gangly, so they could have fun with the animation on the chains.
Yeah, but they also had, Horace and Clarabelle, who have very similar gangly models and never get used for, anything, and they would have worked for that as well. Honestly, Donald would have, too, if they... I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it. If they hadn't already, since Scrooge was already cast as Scrooge, therefore Donald would be his nephew. I could see Donald doing it just because, honestly, the joy in having Scrooge try to interpret the cryptic warning that is whatever the heck Donald is trying to say.
I can't do it.
And thus Scrooge did not change his ways because Donald gave the warning. And unfortunately, they did not send Donald with a chalkboard and length of talk.
Or the voice acting of Don Cheadle.
But, yeah, like, I don't know, it's just always stuck with me, and I remember watching it a lot as a kid, but I haven't seen it in years, so I actually forgot who all was in which parts of it. It's just like, the obvious is like, of course Scrooge is Scrooge, that's kind of his thing. So, what about Muppet Christmas Carol just stands out so much for you, and who is who?
Well, obviously, they got an exceptional actor for Scrooge. I mean...
This is like...
Go ahead.
Okay, so Scrooge is not a Muppet.
No, why am I blanking on his name? I am absolutely drawing a blank on his name.
I don't know why.
I am... Huh? No, I mean... I am embarrassed for myself right now.
Like, do you want me to look it up? Because I can't remember what I've never seen.
I'm doing it.
Here, I'll look it up, you keep moving.
I already got it. I got it on my phone.
And thus did Belle stare endlessly at the sign in Cherrywood City.
Michael Caine. Why could I not remember that?
Because some men just like to watch the world burn.
Yeah, Michael Caine is an exceptional Scrooge. The man is...
He learned very well from working with Bruce Wayne for so many years.
I thought there was something over here, but I couldn't remember what. Yay, ice puzzles. So, he's Scrooge. They broke Jacob Marley into two characters, Jacob and Robert Marley, so that they could have them played by the balcony hecklers,
Statler and Waldorf?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. You said Robert Marley?
Jacob and Robert Marley, yes. Oh, battle.
They have Bob Marley canonically as a Muppets character, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Had you not made that connection?
I'm not getting. What is the connection?
Bob Marley, Rasta.
Oh! No, I didn't catch that. No, I watched that movie since
Hey, Mom, Scrooge, you need to loosen up!
No, I watched that movie since I was a child. I had never once got that reference, if that's even supposed to be a reference. No, I never realized that. Oh, my word. Yes, it's Jacob is Statler and Robert is Waldorf.
Oh my word, this is going to set my expectations for watching this movie with you now. This is glorious.
They're literally just Statler and Waldorf. I mean, most of the Muppets are clearly playing the role, but they're also playing them in a way that is clearly identical to the Muppet characters that you know.
Alright. Okay, so who is Scrooge's Cratchit?
Kermit is Cratchit.
Alright. Who is his nephew?
Another actor. He's also human.
Okay, good. That neatly sized stuff's a concern that would be immediately raised by answering the name of any Muppet.
Yeah, all of the characters that are related to Scrooge in some way are human. So, his nephew and his wife are both human. Belle is human.
Well, 1992 was very, very, prescient in not giving the internet ammunition in this particular sense.
Yeah. But yeah, Bob Cratchit is Kermit, Mrs. Cratchit...
Ooh, you're dead.
No, I got a potion. Bob Cratchit's Kermit, Mrs. Cratchit is Piggy, Tiny Tim is Robin, and their other kids are mini Kermits and mini Piggies. The Ghost of Christmas Past is a CGI ghost of a little girl in a white robe. The Ghost of Christmas Present is the really big Muppet dude who's like big
Sweetums?
and friendly. Not Sweetums.
That's a lot of XP past gained.
And then the Ghost of Christmas Future is just a creepy black robe that just points.
Seems like they're kind of underutilizing the Muppets there. It's like really, it's
Well, they
just
fill a bunch of other roles, like
right.
like Fezziwig is Fozzie.
Fozziewig.
And yes, that is what he's called. He's called Fozziewig.
Oh, take my joke, why don't you?
Gonzo is Charles Dickens, and does most of the narration. Pardon me.
You're a Pokemon trainer, right?
Animals Band are performing at Fozziewig's party. Bunsen and Beaker are the charity collectors at the beginning of the story.
See, that's gonna be really awkward for Beaker. So who does this charity support? Me!
Well, I mean, that's why Bunsen doesn't.
Actually, no. Yeah, I was gonna say, Scrooge might actually respect that more, given Scrooge.
Yeah. Sam the Eagle is the headmaster at the school where Scrooge is a student. Which leads to one of the funnier lines in the movie where he's, like, talking about America, and then Gonzo has to remind him that the story is set in Britain.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's honestly just interesting. Like, these are just only two of the many versions of the takes on Christmas Carol that have been out there, because just ever since it was first published, it has just been so influential. Like, it dates back to 1843, so kind of lull between a lot of other things going on. Like, this is just a couple years before the potato famine becomes an issue in Ireland, and that becomes hugely problematic for, you know, the British Empire, with lasting ramifications that would go out from there. A few scant decades before the US Civil War happens, and just all sorts of other things going down, so it's just middle of the 19th century, just this lull that comes up, and according to the note I have here, well, this Christmas gift presented to the English-speaking world in 1843 by the preeminent novelist Charles Dickens has never lost its power to delight. Adapted in numerous ways and for a great variety of media over the years, this modern Christmas myth, which is linked to every Christmas celebration and whose characters have become household names, is still best enjoyed in its inimitable or original wording. So I actually have the text that's basically from the first edition, so completely unchanged.
Yep.
Note from Charles Dickens. I have endeavored in this ghostly little book to raise the ghost of an idea, which shall not put my readers out of humor with themselves, with each other, with the season, or with me. May it haunt their houses pleasantly, and no one wish to lay it.
Which is a weird way of saying, I hope my story sticks around for a long time, but it is fairly a fitting way to say it, with the concept of the story that everyone knows and loves.
Yep. In October 1843, Charles Dickens, heavily in debt and obligated to his publisher, began work on a book to help supplement his family's meager income. That volume, A Christmas Carol, has long since become one of the most beloved stories in the English language. As much a part of the holiday season as holly, mistletoe, and evergreen wreaths, this perennial favorite continues to delight new readers and rekindle thoughts of charity and goodwill nearly 150 years after it was first published. So that's dating when this edition came out in the mid-90s, about the same time as The Christmas Carol. But it's interesting to me that a story that has lasted this long had such a huge, incalculable impact on Western culture was basically written because Charles Dickens was deeply in debt and needed to, have money to feed his family. Which probably is why he wanted Cratchit to be as sympathetic as he was. He was in Cratchit's position.
Yep. And rival battle time.
Probably a good place to pause the episode after this, so let's see how Clara and Belle fare.
This is going to hurt.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't catch anything. You didn't have Pokeballs?
I have Pokeballs, but all I ran into was like Zigzagoons and Weedles. Nothing I wanted to
You're saying Beedrill's not worth the investment?
Not really. Not when the first gym leader was
this
flying
game's
type.
fun. Yeah, okay, that's fair, but Zigzagoon would be resistant to flying, and at this point you basically just want fodder in there so you can swap out and heal. And maybe, hey, Meryl's level 6, they might not know Water Gun yet, so you might pull this through.
Yeah, it looks like it's just defense crawl tackle.
And then it will use Rollout.
Oh, please no. I also did smoke screen it, so maybe it'll miss a time or two. But yeah.
Yeah, at least it's in the Mill Tank. We'll get to the Mill Tank later.
We will, yes. Yay, miss. But yeah, Christmas Carol has been around for our entire lives for most of us. Not just, obviously, in book form, given it came out in the 1800s.
Okay, I was gonna say, let's rephrase that. Christmas Carol had better have been around our entire lives, or we have a vampire problem.
Look, I don't talk about what's in your basement.
You're in my basement.
Well, yes, point taken. Point being, Christmas Carol, in one of its myriad of forms, has been a touchstone of our lives for our entire lives. And, we're going to get into the story itself, and the, bare bones text of the original version next time, and then we will, touch on the further themes and maybe some of the oddities of the various adaptations as we go. See you all next time.
All right.